Alright, so after Lisa's live stream this morning, on day 3 of NaNoWrimo, today is November 3rd, I have surpassed the 10,000 word mark. Again, I have a huge advantage because a lot of this is just I'm copying from my notebook straight into Scrivener, but I'm also adding and expanding a lot. And yeah, I can't believe how quickly this is coming. And you know, I think it's good to have a good head start because something always happens in November. November is a tough month to commit to writing a novel. Like, who picked this? Who picked this month of all the months? I don't know, but it's a hard month. And you know, even if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, which I don't really, I don't know, there's just something about it when the holidays are happening, whether you celebrate them or not, they kind of interfere, they kind of slow things down. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just really happy with how this is going, and I'm going to continue to work on this afternoon. I just feel like I have a lot of momentum right now, and I'm feeling very excited about this book. One thing I did want to mention is that I was having a chat with a friend recently, and kind of like one of those things where I was talking through something and had a realization, and it's probably going to sound very obvious, but and it was on my mind again today because we discussed this during the live stream. But I have always said, I have made videos where I have said, when you have an idea for a book, you should write it as fast as you can. And I hope I always add fast being relative to you, because fast is going to be different from one writer to the next and from one book to the next. And the reason I say that is because it's so easy for us to procrastinate and let our fear of not being able to pull this book off to allow that to let us put writing off and off and off until we lose the spark and we lose the passion, and then we just don't write the book. So that's why I give the advice of writing as fast as you can. But I've come to realize that okay, when I got my first book deal in 2011, it was a 4-book deal because this was an IP project actually, and it was a planned 4-book series, and it was middle grade, and granted they were short. Each book was right at 40,000 words, okay? And the way Penguin, the publishing schedule they came up with, because readers at that age, they age out so quickly. When you write a series, you have to keep in mind, like, if a reader is going to be 10 years old when you start a series and 13 years old when you end a series, they've aged out probably of what you're writing. So Penguin's schedule was all 4 of those books published in 2014. The first 2 books came out on the same day in January, and then if I remember right, one book 3 came out like in April or May, and then the other one came out in the fall, somewhere around October or November. And that was tight. And it weirdly, I think, even though I wasn't fully conscious of this at the time, it was like it set this idea in my head that was like, that any year where I didn't publish 4 books, which is ridiculous in traditional publishing, that was like a failure. I don't know. I don't remember consciously thinking that, but I do remember feeling like I needed to at least put 2 books out a year. And one that is so outside of my control. It doesn't matter how fast I write. I am not self-publishing. In self-publishing, you can do that. You control that. In traditional publishing, you just frankly cannot. You cannot. Every book I have ever published traditionally, all of my books, have all had their pub dates bumped. Every single one. Every single one. It's out of our control. So that's just, I don't want to say it's pointless to set goals like that. Certainly set goals for how many books you want to write a year, but setting a goal saying I'm going to publish this many a year is an exercise in, I don't know, self-punishment, because you can't control it. And you shouldn't beat yourself up about it when it doesn't happen. Anyway, between that and the fact that my career evolved and turned into this ghostwriting IP work thing as well, which again comes with a strict schedule, I have just really gotten used to, in my head, the idea that I should be able to write a book from like conception to pretty clean first draft in like less than 3 months. And I can do that when I'm ghostwriting or when it's IP because there are other people involved in the project and it's not just me doing everything. Like, they give me materials. I'm, you know, that's doable. That's just like a different animal. But this particular book that I'm writing right now, I definitely, even though I said I wasn't setting any deadlines for myself, and I truly didn't, I'm at the point now where I've been working on this since what, August? And now it's November. And I'm like, wow, you're not even close to a first draft, because what I'm still writing, what I'm working on right now, what I'm 10,000 words into, is not a first draft. It is still very much an incredibly rough draft, summary, messy, sloppy thing. And as I was talking to my friend the other night, I realized, well, this book for me is very ambitious. It is not just because I'm moving, it is my first attempt at adult fiction. And I want to say right now, I'm not trying to say at all that writing for adults is harder than writing for a younger audience. I think it depends on the author. Some people are going to be good at both. Some people are going to be good at one and not the other. But for me, it's just new. It's different. I am used to, I have written a lot of middle grade. I can slip into that very easily. This is different. There are so many POVs. I don't know if I'm going to keep them all, but right now I'm allowing myself to explore them, and there's all these different characters. It is the most POVs I've ever had in any book I've ever written by far. It's a new genre for me, you know, just writing a straight ahead mystery. Yeah, in every way, it's a challenge. And honestly, I'm afraid this is going to sound a little pretentious, but I have some ideas for the themes I want to explore and ideas and like things I want to say, and that's going to require time and careful work and research. And so as I was talking this out with my friend, I was like, I just kind of realized when I listen to authors talk about their books and they say things like, you know, and they like take a full year to go from conception of a book to having a draft to turn into an editor, say, a full year. And that's the only book they write. All of a sudden, to me now, that sounds so, that's just, it sounds so, I don't want to say easy, but like all that time. Imagine having a full year where you work on nothing but this one novel. Because as I'm working on this for NaNoWrimo, I am 20,000 words into a 60,000 word novel that I'm ghostwriting, and I am outlining a book 2 in a series that I am also ghostwriting. So like the idea of just one book and that's it for a full year. But like even that, by, I don't know, standards of what, a decade, 2 decades ago, is pretty fast. I don't know where we collectively came up with the idea that authors should publish one book a year in traditional publishing. I mean, a lot of authors take plenty of more time in between that. Maybe it's like you're afraid you're going to lose your readership. I don't know. I guess that's another discussion. But my point is, the kind of book I'm trying to write, I personally cannot whip out in 3 months. I am not capable of that. Even if I didn't have ghostwriting on the side, even if this was the only thing I was working on, it's not a 3-month book. Not, you know, not every book can be written by me at that speed. Some other writer, maybe, yes, but I can't do that. And I don't know, it just felt kind of good to like give myself permission and accept the fact that this is going to be the kind of thing that takes a while and goes through several drafts as I uncover layers and try to piece everything together before I even send it to beta readers, much less agents, editors, whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because I know I talk a lot about writing fast, and I know I always add the caveat, fast is relative to you, but I just wanted to say that in case I've ever made you feel, if you watched any of my other videos, like you're not writing fast enough. Push yourself. You have to find the level of pushing yourself that is like a good and healthy kind, but that doesn't push you into burnout. Anyway, so I'll hop off my little soapbox, and it is pouring rain outside today, but I've got to take Rosa out and have some lunch and then just see how much more of this I can get written today. so I somehow got 5,700 words today, and my Nano book is at 12,200 something words. And yeah, like I said, I mean, that's a pretty big word count, but so much of it is pulling out of my notebook and just like copying verbatim what I've already written. So it counts, but it doesn't count. I have been doing a lot of expanding. I mean, I'm still nowhere near, I can't say nowhere near, but I'm a few scenes away from the halfway point. Once I get through everything that I have in my notebook, it'll be well over 20,000 words, and then I'll start writing the new stuff. I did add a scene today. I wrote something that is not in my notebook or in my note cards at all. It was a good bridge scene, and it was actually from the point of view of that character that I mentioned in my last vlog, I think. I had been putting off getting into her head because I don't like her. She's just like a person whose head I don't want to be in, and I wasn't sure how to do it in a nuanced, realistic way. So I already have a scene written in my notebook for her for like close to the end of what I have so far, but I added one today which will serve as her first scene, and actually it ended up being perfect because it allowed me to insert a lot of really important backstory regarding the victim because of the particular relationship she had with the victim. So yeah, that ended up being really great. So the book is definitely expanding, and I'm just excited to see where it goes from here. We're hiding under the desk. I don't know why. Had a good morning today. I mean, I should be happy with how today went. I spent all morning and the first part of the afternoon on a client's book. I got about 3,000 words written. To be honest, I was aiming for 4 today, but it was just one of those, you gotta know when your brain is done situations, and I was done. And then I opened up Scrivener, and my goal was to get 1,000 words written / transferred from my notebook into the Scrivener document, but I got 800 and saw that I had crossed a total of 13,000 words for this project so far, and I was like, you know, that's good enough. That's good enough for now. So that's, you know, that's where I stand on November 4th, 4 days into NaNoWrimo, 13,000 words. I am very pleased with that. Really happy I decided to do this. I think this was the right call, and fingers crossed, knock on wood, knock on puppy, that this will be the NaNoWrimo that I actually win, or whatever you call it. I am going to continue to work on this book today, but in the form of research, and that leads me to the question I want to ask you guys, and I'm hoping you'll answer down below. When do you start research? Are you a writer who needs to do all the research before you even start brainstorming, planning, plotting a project? Do you do a little bit of research in the beginning, more research throughout, or do you kind of save it, get through a first draft as fast as you can, and then do research that you can apply during revisions? I think all of these ways can work and can be really successful. I think, as with pretty much everything, it's going to depend on the book, like the type of book you're writing, as well as just you and your process. Personally, for example, I can't imagine writing like a historical novel without doing a ton of research up front, just because you have to have a pretty strong sense of that world if you're going to plot and like understand your characters and how they live and exist in that time, you know what I mean? But again, that's just me. I mean, if you are the type of writer who can knock out a draft of historical fiction without doing your research first, then please tell me about it, because that's kind of amazing, honestly. I respect that. But anyway, today, my research, for this book, I did a tiny bit of research beforehand, But I am just kind of learning things as I draft and realizing that there's certain things that I want in this book and that I'm going to have to learn more about. So I think I'm going to be doing a lot of research as I go. And in particular, I think when I finish this rough draft, ideally at the end of this month, since I will need to take some time away from it before I start in on the next draft anyway, and because December is a good month to kind of like slow things down and maybe do some more reading, at least for me, I think December is going to be like a research intensive month for me, because there are a lot of different topics that I'm realizing I need to dig into. So last weekend I went to not one, not two, but 3 of my local bookstores looking for a book that just came out like within the last couple of weeks, and none of them had it. So I came home and ordered it, and it just got here yesterday, and it is Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell. And if you ever were curious about my nonfiction reading tastes, this book is it. Like, it is firmly at the center of my nonfiction wheelhouse. I'll just read a little bit from the inside flap. The author analyzes the social science of cult influence, how cultish groups from Jonestown and Scientologists to SoulCycle and social media gurus use language as the ultimate form of power. What makes cults so intriguing and frightening? What makes them powerful? The reason so many of us binge Manson documentaries by the dozen and fall down rabbit holes researching suburban moms gone QAnon is that we're looking for a satisfying explanation for what causes people to join and, more important, stay in extreme groups. We secretly want to know, could it happen to me? Amanda Montell's argument is that on some level it already has. Yeah. I can't tell you guys how excited I am to read this book. In fact, when I got it and I opened it last night, I did what I always do when I get a new book, which is I open it to a random page. I don't know why I do this. It's not even like a conscious thing. I just do it out of habit. And on this random page it says, "Do you want to be a hashtag boss babe?" And that was when I knew that it was not a mistake to buy this book. I am going to enjoy reading this so much, and if you're interested in it, I'll leave a link down in the description below so you can check it out too. But yeah, let me know, when do you do research? And also, how is NaNoWrimo going for you? Or if you're not doing NaNoWrimo, how is writing and life in general going for you? Let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna go read my book and enjoy the rest of my evening, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday with another video. Bye.